What's going on, everyone? It's Tyler Shelton. Happy New Year. This is the very first video that I'm going to give you guys that is for 2021, but I'm actually doing a video that is about my top 5 favorite video games of 2020. So, let's get started with today's video. Number 5. So at number 5 is Final Fantasy VII Remake. So the reason why that I really enjoy Final Fantasy VII Remake is just that I really never had the chance to play the original on the PS1 because I actually didn't have a PS1 back when I was young. But my wife did, and she absolutely loved that game. It was one of those very few games that she really dived deep into the game. And she has told me so much about the franchise, and I just really never had a desire to play any Final Fantasy games, not until I met my wife. And when she told me that there was going to be a remake that is coming out on the PS4, I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And oh my gosh. It blew me away. The game is so innovative, and I actually had the chance to watch on YouTube of the original gameplay and just how it, because back in the day it was such a revolutionary game because no other game has ever done this. There was a first segment, and then you had to go to another disc to play the rest of the game, and it feels like that they're kind of doing the same thing with this one because you're only playing the first disc. You're only playing the intro to the entire game. But they somehow did a phenomenal job just expanding on that first part of the main base game. But it felt like that I was playing a complete main base game, but it's just only the beginning. So it just makes me more excited to play the next part of this franchise, and I am looking forward to it. Number 4. So number 4 is Ghost of Tsushima. So the Ghost of Tsushima is another RPG game, and this one, there are several moments that I'm all okay. But I think the very part that just made me really enjoy this game is, I think it just has a lot to do with the storytelling, and I still think that the graphics is very beautiful. Anywhere you go, you can actually see where you have to go just based on the wind itself. The wind is showing a little physical wave that you have to follow to your destination, and I thought that was brilliant. But the combat is fantastic, the story is great. I mean, the graphics is not the greatest. It's completely clear that they didn't try to aim for a photorealistic world, but it felt very realistic. It felt very human, just by the story, the characters, just all the details that they brought into the game. That's the part that made it feel so real. And they did do some stuff that felt like it was just more of a convenience, such as if you ever need to find stuff to harvest for you to upgrade your armor or buy armor, you don't need to get off your horse and go over to that object and pick it up, but you don't need to. And so it's just stuff like that that just made me go I like this idea. It doesn't waste my time. They know that this is a big expansive world, and yeah, overall I think this was just a really well developed game, and definitely deserves my number 4 spot. Number 3. So number 3 is Animal Crossing's New Horizons. Now, it's just one of those games that you can easily just take your time with it. The gameplay is very simple. It is absolutely just pretty to look at, and even some of the music is very touching, and it makes you feel relaxed. So it's just, yeah, it's just one of those games that it's just kind of like a guilty pleasure game, but I really enjoyed it for what it is. So that's my experience with Animal Crossing, and I'm still playing it, but like, it's just fun to play on a time basis, and I really enjoy it. Number 2. So number 2 is the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 Remaster, and all I have to say is thank you. It's been way too long since I've played Tony Hawk because, I mean, wow, like, just wow. I never expected that we would get not only a Final Fantasy VII Remake, but we're also getting a remake to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. That's crazy. Like, those games I grew up playing all the time. And it was the same thing for my wife. So anytime when we play that game, we just have so much fun. It's just, it took me back to when I was younger, and it did the same thing for my wife. So what they tried to go for, they nailed it. Number 1. And at number 1 is, I think you all know what it is. SpiderMan, Miles Morales. So SpiderMan, like, I've always loved Spider-Man. I mean, when it comes down to like the villains, the stories, just the character arcs, like nothing will top that. Because Spider-Man is just one of those characters that you can always understand him, but not only that, like you actually get to see a little bit of Peter Parker, but the main point of this game is that you are now playing Miles Morales, the second Spider-Man, and I just thought that this was a nice addition to this universe that Sony is now going with, because it feels like that they are kind of like making this become like a franchise that we're going to get multiple video games one after the next. And so I think this is just a nice filler that is going to be like another new main focus maybe on the next Spider-Man game, which is probably going to be more about like how did Harry Osborn get the Venom symbiote. Like, there's a lot of Easter eggs that came from the 2018 Spider-Man video game, and now you got this. It feels like I'm playing the same game, but the graphics are even better. The voice acting is so perfect, and the combat system is beautiful, and you really feel like you are Spider-Man, and that is the whole point about playing the game. So that's my number 1 video game of 2020. So that was my top 5 video games of 2020. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you liked my list, please press the like button. And if you have not done so, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And this is not like everyone's list. It's just my list. I have my own opinions. I have my own ideas of what a good video game is. If you have a top 5, leave it down in the comment section down below, and I would like to hear what yours are. But anyways, yeah, let's just keep it lively and have a nice discussion, and I will see you guys next time.